So today I'm coming to you from Kuching in Sarawak on the island of Borneo in Malaysia. I'm hanging out right in front of the Cat Museum. As you know, Nikon has released the 135 f1.8 lens, Plena. It's an awesome lens. I don't know how many of you have used a 135 lens, but this lens, according to the videos and everything that are out, they're saying it's going to be a fantastic lens. The bokeh from the pictures look awesome. I have to say that I'm a bit excited about the lens. There was the old 135 f2 that was was pretty good. I had one of those. It was a really nice lens. In addition to that, that was a later version because that was a manual version. There was the 135 f2 DC, which was AIS, and that autofocus manual focus ring on top of it that you could utilize to switch it over if you want to go into manual mode. But there's also the defocus ring. The defocus ring was a really nice option where basically you could drop out the background either to the front of the person or front of your subject or behind the subject. The defocus control was really nice. I was expecting Nikon would bring something like that back, but according to the videos and what they're saying, this lens at f1.8, based upon the Z mount being larger than the F mount, the bokeh is looking really good on it. I mean, it's awesome. But of course, as you know, what most lenses, if you're close to your subject, if it's within a close range, you can basically knock out the background. But with this lens, it looks really awesome. So there's no need for f1.2. I think it'll make it like really huge, like the Noct. And I'm glad that it's also autofocus and not just purely manual focus. So that's a fantastic thing. If any of you own the 135mm lens, you realize that this lens was pretty much on the heavy side. It was about 30 ounces, so that's almost 2 pounds. Old iron is what I call these lenses. When I got it, it was part of my quartet of lens that I had for the DF because I wanted to shoot manual and use all the dials in that camera. And the range, it was my maximum range at 135. And of course, put it in DX mode, I can get about 200 out of it. If you like manual focus lenses, remember in the old days, these things were like iron. They were hefty to carry around. We didn't have an issue carrying them around because it's the only thing we have. Today we have lenses built out of plastics, can make them a little bit lighter. But this 135 Plena lens, yeah, it's heavier. There's a lot of glass stuffed into that thing. Edge to edge sharpness. That's like really great. And at wide open, you're looking at very little, well, no vignetting really, truly. Based upon the videos I've seen, there's no vignetting out there. And usually you can expect wide open with a lot of these lenses, you're going to have some vignetting. But this lens is not going to have any of that. And I think that's going to be a great thing in the grand scheme of stuff. You guys out there that likes to shoot wide open, if the lens is 1.8, 1.2, 9.5, you want to shoot at that level, keep this in mind. Depending on your use case, you don't have to shoot at f1.8 the entire time. It all depends on what you're shooting and what you're trying to do for it. But this lens is going to be really sharp and really good. It's like the Noct. Awesome lens. So who is this lens for? If you're a portrait photographer and you like to take pictures at a distance, or if you're doing video, you just want to kind of stay away for a bit, this gives you some reach. If you use it in DX mode, you're looking at roughly 200 millimeters. So it's a nice lens. It gives you some space. The subject can do what they're doing. You don't have to be right up on top of them. You can get some fantastic photographs. I guess you could use it for street photos as well. And if you want to stay away from people and just kind of capture something out down the way, that's a pretty nice thing to do. Yeah, it's kind of on the big side and the heavier side, but if you can afford it and you want to do those things with it, it makes sense for you. I would say it's more for the working photographer, more so than the casual photographer, but if your pocket can afford it and it's something that you want to get into, I'm not going to say don't get it. It's a fantastic lens. Now, personally, I was hoping that Nikon would have given us a line of lens and a Plena name. But from what I'm seeing, the script, Noct, was out there first. That's the 0.95. And now they have Plena. So, who knows if they'll come up with another name for another lens. We know in the future the 35mm f1.2 is coming out. So we have to wait and see what that one's going to look like and how it's going to perform. Nikon is an optics company. I don't expect it to perform poorly at all. For me, working with f1.4 lens, I like that reach. I like the light that it gives. I have a 58 Nocturne from Voigtlander. That's a pretty good lens to work with. It's manual focus, F mount. I'm looking at picking up a Z mount version, but the Z mount version is now 50mm. There's no 58 that I've seen, and that one is going to be a f2 pointer, if I remember correctly. I have to look it up. I'll put the information up there. So how many of you guys plan on getting this lens? Let me know in the comments. I'll be curious to hear from you what your thoughts are on it, and if it's something that you see yourself picking up. They did mention the lens will be good for both video and photo use. The one thing I did notice when someone was showing the photo use is that it has a bit of focus breathing. It doesn't seem to be too bad, but it'll be something to be aware of if you're going to use this lens for video. Nikon once again has put out something good this year. We've had few releases of lens and bodies this year. So now we should all be looking forward to the Z6 III and whatever else they come up with. It's been a good year so far for Nikon users, Nikon shooters. We love what we've been seeing. It's been a good thing and we're very happy with it. I, for one, I'm not going to get this lens. It's not something that I need in my life right now. I love to use the manual focus one when I got it with my DF, but for now, this one is not something that I need to get. I was hoping that maybe they do like a 58 Noct or something around, or, you know, Plena, but we didn't get that. We just get the 135. So I'm not going to argue with that. For those of you guys who like that lens and want to pick one up, go ahead. Before I wrap up the video, I'm just going to put a few footage from here from my trip over in Sarawak, just to close out the video with something different. Stay tuned. I'll be having a video about Sarawak coming up. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.